And welcome back to the Arneson River Theater. Greg Simmons along with my buddy Steve Brown here. We're celebrating the River Parade of the 2003 NBA champion San Antonio Spurs.
He's dancing.
It's catching. I can't help it.
You know, I started doing that in '99, and by the end of the season, I kind of had a commitment. I had to do it after every Spurs win, and we did it during the weather. And over the years, people have just asked me to continue doing that, so we started again this year. Now, it would be showing off if I were any good, but since I'm not, it's just funny.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're good. It just matters that you're into it, and it's that kind of passion that rings true all over San Antonio. Some more of the Spurs staff that help put these games on each and every night, and these folks, I tell you what, hard-working group here. You think it's all done out on the court, but a lot happens behind the scenes, and they make sure it gets on. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite stories is Steve Smith and Kevin Willis. I mean, here combined between the two of them, Steve Smith, 12 years in the league, and Kevin Willis, 19 seasons without a ring until now, so they're both probably won't be on the team next year. Kevin perhaps, Steve Smith definitely won't be next year. He's a free agent. He wants to play someplace else.
To play? I mean, he just turned 41.
I'll tell you what, I would not want to challenge. If I saw that man coming at me, I'd get out of the way no matter where I was.
Right. I think Coach Pop said at one point that he's made a deal with the devil to be able to play as well as he does at his age, and he really does play incredibly well.
Think about that. Over 40 years old and doing a great job out on the court. An enforcer at times. I mean, he didn't let a lot of those guys push the Spurs around. Kenya Martin, you know, wanted to get physical. You know what Kevin said? Bring it, buddy. I don't mind about that. When Dikembe got a finger in his face, what did Kevin say? Oh, don't bring that in here on me. I can handle that. And he's right. He can handle just about any situation.
41 years old. That's almost as old as I. No.
Ben McBean and their country band serenading us here at the Arneson River Theater. But coming up next, one of my favorite players on this team, you know, pop one out. Look for a guy who could back up Tony Parker. Remember, you got to remember, Tony was 19 years old when he first came in here. 21 years old. When he wins the NBA championship at 21, he is the second youngest player in NBA history to win an NBA title. The youngest was Magic Johnson when he was 20. But here comes the man who backed up Tony when he would waver a little bit. And there is Speedy, and there is Stephen Jackson. I'll tell you what, Stephen Jackson, his outside shot really helped propel this team. And here they are celebrating together their first ever NBA titles as well. Speedy had a chance at one time, remember, to win one with the Philadelphia 76ers, but he was injured. Let's listen in to see if Stephen's going to talk to the crowd here.
Before you hear Stephen, because we want you on TV, man. How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? Yo!
Stephen.
Just won the championship. Y'all gotta get louder than that.
Stephen, how about these fans? These are some pretty good fans, don't they?
You know what? A lot of big part of the championship would not be done without you guys. We thank y'all very much. We appreciate it. Hopefully we be back to do it again next year. I love y'all. Thanks.
Well, that may be an indication of what's to come. Stephen Jackson is a free agent, but he's made it very clear he wants to come back here to San Antonio. There's Speedy. You can hear everybody. Look at little Speedy. Let's pass the mic to Speedy, and let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, what's up? We love you guys. We want to thank y'all for having our back this season. Let's do it again next year.
You guys, that's
One of those smiley faces. You can just tell he grew up with like 7 siblings, and he's just like a permanent grin.
You know, you got to feel for him because he's been injured this year. Remember, in the third game of the season against Toronto, he separated that shoulder. He was out a good portion of the regular season. He was itching to come back, and when he came back, he rode the bench for a long time, and he came back so strong in the finals. That's exactly where they wanted him, and that's exactly what he was able to do. You got to get Speedy. And Stephen Jackson, you know, he started off a little rough in that Game 6, but boy, did he light it up down the stretch, part of that 19-0 Spurs run, Steve.
Yep, that was great, and Speedy really filled in when Tony was struggling there against the net. We could not have done it without Speedy.
You got that right. Tony had it kind of an up and down, but you know what? For 21 years old, you just got to keep reminding yourself he's under all this pressure performing against Jason Kidd. And when he wavered just a little bit, it wasn't a problem because they had Speedy, they had Manu, they had other guys who could go in and save the day. And thank goodness for Speedy Claxton. Up up next here, your head coach, your NBA Coach of the Year and two-time world champion Greg Popovich and the entire coaching staff of the San Antonio Spurs. Here they come through, including guys like P.J. Carlesimo and his wife, Carolyn, assistant coach Mike Budenholzer. How about assistant coach Mike Brown, instrumental here. And as the barge pulls up here in front, you can hear the crowd letting them hear it. They love this team. R.C. Buford also see he's on the float as well. There you see Mike Brown with a video camera in hand as they pan down some of the training staff. That's Will Sevening, the Spurs trainer. There's R.C. Buford, newly named general manager this past year, and his wife, Beth, right on the right-hand side. They have reason to celebrate because they did a great job this season. There's P.J. Carlesimo with his new son Kyle on the right, his wife Carolyn on the left. Now, you know, P.J. was up for a coaching job in Toronto. He will be a head coach of the NBA again very soon. What a great guy, a former broadcast partner here on KSAT 12. What a super guy.
He's a good broadcaster. So who on that barge is responsible for getting the team together? The Eagle Eye Scouts? Were they on that?
Boy, that was a great job. R.C. Buford, one of those scouts, and Sam Schuler, who did a great job, the director of player personnel. They're going overseas, scouting these guys out and bringing them to San Antonio. Here we come. This is the one we've been waiting for. Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. That Tony Parker wanted to get it all down for posterity's sake. Tony Parker, of course, played in France, and Manu Ginobili coming to the Spurs right there from Argentina. Boy, talk about instrumental this year. Tony starting at 21 years of age. Manu Ginobili coming off the bench. They're going to give him another microphone so we can listen in, and let's pass it in there first. And let's see who gets to talk. I believe they're going to give it to Tony first, so let's listen in. That's Tony's brother, by the way.
How you doing? How you doing?
Very good. Tony, you feeling pretty good about now?
I'm just so happy. It's unbelievable. It's like a dream for me. You know, when I was like maybe 9 years old, you know, I was dreaming about winning a championship. It's so great to celebrate with all of you. You know, we got great fans. It's the best fan in the league. It's unbelievable. And it's just the beginning.
Here, let's listen to Manu, see what Manu has to say.
Thank you all. We have no words to thank you. It's great. En español también, como quieran. Decía, no hay palabras para agradecerles. Tuvieron magníficos todo el año. Esta experiencia inolvidable para cada uno de nosotros. Y no hay nada mejor que compartirlo con ustedes. Así que muchísimas gracias.
In my limited Spanish, he said this is tremendous for him. This is great. And to share with everybody here in San Antonio has been awesome. Now, that's my loose translation of what he just said in the crowd.
3 languages. I think it's Italian, Spanish, and English. Probably a little bit of French, too, with Tony there.
Absolutely, but I tell you, I couldn't be happier for these guys. Think about it. Manu is a rookie in this league, even though he's played for 5 or 6 years all over the world. And Tony Parker, you know what? They're both going to go back to their home countries, superheroes during this offseason.
They will be. And Timmy, I always like Timmy when you'd interview him, he said, it is my job to get the ball to Timmy.
One of the few guys that get away on this team from calling Tim Duncan Timmy, but I couldn't be happier for those guys, especially the way that Tony has handled all of the stuff about Jason Kidd. He has handled it like a veteran. On the float, by the way, with Tony, his brother TJ, who plays for Northwestern up in Chicago. Also, his mom Pamela has flown all the way over here from Paris to be with her son to celebrate up in New Jersey as well as here in San Antonio.
And his dad's here in the United States as well.
Dad lives in Chicago as well, so all these folks being part of this, including, of course, Manu and his girlfriend Manny. So I'm very happy for all of them. We've got more to come live from the Riverwalk after this.
Brad, along with Greg Simmons. We're live from the Artisan River Theater right here on the Riverwalk, watching the Spurs Victory Parade. World Champions 2003.
Sounds good, right? The beginning of a dynasty? What do you think?
You know, that's the thing, Greg. When you look at this team and what they've been able to do, you know, they don't need anything. And they have all this room with the salary cap as it is structured to get some really great players. And we already have great players. So it could be a dynasty, Greg.
That is what's so amazing about this team. With the salary cap that they have involved here, they have more money than just about any other team in the NBA to go out and sign the big-name free agents. So not only are they good now and a great team by the simple fact they're the world champions, they have the opportunity to get even better, which is why this talk of a dynasty has become. You know, it's interesting. I've had a lot of complaints phone in about why isn't there not a national coverage on the Spurs? Because, quite frankly, again, they're sleepers. For whatever reason, people still don't believe the Spurs are a strong team, even though they just won the national championship. But you know what? That's okay. We'll make believers out of them as the years go by. That's fine.
Exactly. And you know, I grew up in Boston area. The Celtics for years had a dynasty going there. And
huge.
How great it is. And it's so easy to lose. It's so hard to put together. It's so easy to lose.
Well, when you consider, here's some of the members of the Spurs staff coming back through, and when you have to consider a lot of things have to work in your favor, you take a look at injuries, just team chemistry alone. You can bring in some of the best players in the world, but what happens if you bring them in for whatever reason they don't click? They're mad about their playing time. Look what's happened on the Lakers at times between Shaq and Kobe. There's been some huge battles in the offside or behind the scenes trying to negotiate who's going to get the ball and how much, how many playing minutes are going to happen. So it's not one thing just to have great players on your team. You got to have the good team chemistry, and you got to be injury-free. That's the key.
That's what makes this team work. They get together. They get along so well with each other. And Stephen Jackson actually said it best. We all know Pop has quite a temper, trying to motivate his people and keep them going. And he's Mr. Defense. He's always preaching defense. And that's really not the fun part of the game. The fun part of the game is dropping it in the ocean, you know, putting it in the bucket, dropping it in the hole, the big slam dunk. Getting players to play defense is, you've got to continually get on them. But these guys, they still respond to Pop, and they seem to protect each other from his wrath.
This team became a team, Steve, during that road trip. Remember that road trip where because of the rodeo,
right,
they had that extended road trip, and they won those 8 games in a row. I believe that's when this team actually became a team and became a championship caliber team during that road trip.
And I think they did it on their own. I think it's the players getting together, and just because they can get along and understand each other, and they motivate each other. And of course, David Robinson, a veteran there, absolutely had to be an inspiration to get these guys motivated to do what they did, because that's a lot of work.
Well, and that's the one thing this team did so well this year, winning away from home. And people ask me, well, how are you able to do that? I'll tell you what, home court advantage is nice, but the one thing about home court, sometimes you have all these distractions. Goodness knows you have relatives coming in during the championship run. If you're doing well, you have people at the house wanting tickets, all kinds of things that can happen to distract you. But when you're on the road, locked in your hotel room, there's not a lot of distractions there. And as a result, I think that's where this team came together. Hey, there's a look at Manu Ginobili's jersey when he played in Argentina. So they had that being paraded out here. Some of the international flavor.
The only person I'm missing, to be honest,
yep,
Avery Johnson.
You know, I'll tell you what, he was the guy who kind of hosted the entire event back in '99. I think David Robinson ought to host it as well. Now, here comes Peter Holtzfloat. He is the Spurs chairman and the majority owner, along with Mayor Ed Garza, Judge Nelson Wolf, and his wife, Tracy. Also, Tommy Lee Jones, I believe, is on this float as well. I think that's him in the cowboy hat, knowing Tommy Lee. That's the U.S. Marshal himself right there. And they're going to pull the float up here, and let's let them address the crowd.
Tommy Lee Jones, I want to talk about this amazing.
Oh, let's do this again. The best fans in San Antonio. We love you. Yeah, we're going to do this again. We're going to do this again, San Antonio. We love you.
We got better fans here than they got in New Jersey, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. We got, look at the only thing we have a river play. Let's do it every year. We love you.
So unique. You've been all
Because we're from San Antonio, the best town in the world, the best city in the world. Absolutely. Let's have our mayor come
He didn't have much voice left, does he, Steve?
Antonio, how does it feel? We were talking to the players earlier and told them this is just a taste. Because the best is yet to come. We want to thank all of the citizens in San Antonio for coming together, supporting our team from the north side to the south side, east side to the west. The San Antonio Spurs brought this city together, and we're very proud of not only these players on what they do on the court, but what they do off the court as well. They're great citizens, and my hat's off to David Robinson.
There you go. Part of
Here's
what
our
you
county
do is
judge,
great.
Nelson Wolf.
The best NBA fans in the world right here. What do you got to say? We are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions. We are the champions.
All right, and what a great way to kick things off in the SBC Center.
I want to thank you for supporting the SBC Center. This is one of the greatest things that's ever happened to us in San Antonio. Not only do we have the Spurs there, but we have a lot of other events that are coming regularly. The only thing is that Peter screwed up, so we want to do this every year. Every year.
That was Steve Azito, who runs the SBC Center, the last speaker there. Let's see if anybody else has anything to say down there. Tommy Lee, what was his best line in U.S. Marshals? What are you going to do, Tommy Lee? Catch him. So that's what the Spurs did this year. They caught him. His wife, Juliana, also on the float right there to his right, or his left, our right. So it's great to see him. They've done a great job, and congratulations to Peter Holt for sticking with this team and providing the finances necessary, and also getting together and getting the SBC Center built so this team would be viable in San Antonio for many years to come.
The best is right around the corner. Don't go anywhere right now. It's right around the corner.
Yeah, do not. If you're going to get a sandwich, delay that order. Do not get a sandwich because you do not want to miss this next float because it contains. There's a look at Al Sturcio's band. But do not move because coming up is the man we're all here for. Right now, Steve Brown, it is David Robinson and Tim Duncan.
The big guy.
There is the Admiral. How fitting is that? The Admiral on the waterway in downtown San Antonio.
No mistake. All right, you guys.
Got a megawatt smile going there, Greg.
And there's the trophy carried high by Tim Duncan for the fans here at the Artisan River Theater.
That's right. We are family.
This is kind of like the end of the fireworks show when everything starts going boom, 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 boom.
And Pop is also on this float. Let's listen in.
The best fans in the NBA, we love you, and thank you for all your support. What about these two guys right here?
Oh, they're amazing, Coach. Coach Popovich.
Yeah!
Always trying to hide, but doing an incredible job. Thank you so much, Coach. You've got to feel great. Coach of the Year, and now the championship. I mean, are you just going to celebrate all summer long?
Coach of the Year is right here. This is Coach of the Year, these two guys.
See, there you go. That's why you've got it there, Coach. That's why you've got it. Tim, you've got to be feeling pretty good holding on to that trophy again. I can't believe we're here already.
Feels great to be back here.
All right. Gotta love the fans. It's got to feel great out there on the river watching all the fans up and down the
San
river. Can you
Antonio's
believe?
great. The fans are great. They've been great all year long, and it's just great to bring it back to them.
Well, thank you so much. What a fabulous surprise.
Let's hear from David.
Thank you, guys.
Come on, David.
And David, what can you say? David, we just love you so much. Who'd have thought in 1987? I was there. I was at the draft. It's amazing that here we are this many years later, and you're still here. You're one of our number one citizens. Thank you, David, so much for all you do.
Hey, thank you, San Antonio. This has been the ride of my life. There's no place to celebrate like San Antonio. Thanks, guys.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, you are family, and you've made the city an even better place, David. And we look forward to having you around for many years and all the work you do at the Carver and everything else.
That's right. I'm going to be up in the stands with y'all cheering them on this
There
year
you
and everything.
go. There you go, David. Lots more years ahead
All right,
of us. Thank
David
you guys
Robinson
so much.
giving his final address to the fans here on the Riverwalk. He's joined, of course, by his sons, David Jr., Corey's down there, Justin, his wife, Valerie, also seeing the float, Tim's wife, Amy, Pop's children as well. So it's getting the little anchors away as well for the Admiral. Isn't that great? You couldn't ask for a nicer send-off for one of the greatest guys we've ever known in San Antonio, Steve.
Super guy. Is that world-famous photographer Gary Boyer down there?
And world-famous NBA photographer Gary Boyer used to work for KSAT 12, and they stole us from me. Can you believe that? But there they are down there, the NBA recording this for posterity as well, because look at that. You won't see a better twin tower tandem, I think, in the history of the NBA than David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Two of the greatest guys you'll ever know, and now they have a trophy to share again between the two of them.
Well, David has his son on his shoulders.
Oh, that's great. I'll tell you what, he is such a family man, and that's the main reason. You know, a lot of people ask me, why is David retiring, Steve, when he really could continue to still play? He's had some trouble with injuries, but you saw this year he bounced back quite well. And people always go, well, if the guy is that good and still in that good of health, why didn't he keep playing? Well, one of the reasons is sitting on his shoulder right there. His kids don't care about all the championship rings he's won. They don't care how many years he's been in the league. They don't care he's going to the Hall of Fame. They don't care he's leads a single-season scoring record. They don't care he has a quadruple-double. All they care about is that he is dad, and they want him home.
Right. Well, it's got to be tough for him, though, because you're right. He could play again. Look, I mean, Willis still playing at 41 years old. David still has it in him. Maybe not to play the number of minutes that he's played, but certainly he could still be a contributor. But that NBA season is such a grind. It's such a long journey to get here. We're talking 82 regular season games.
That's just the regular season. That doesn't count the preseason and the long postgame. Remember, they took every series to 6 games this year, unlike they did in '99 when they went through it 15-2. They had to take every series to 6 games. That's a lot of wear and tear.
Exactly. And I know as you do age, it just takes a little bit longer to recover.
The next day is a little longer, a little harder.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Tim Duncan, quite the opposite here. Now, Davis going out on top. And how many guys can actually say that? I mean, think about it. You think of the John Elways, but how many other guys have gotten to finish up as champions? That's hard to do in sports. It's hard to time out, and David has that opportunity to do now. Now you look at Tim Duncan, who has a lot of decisions to make during this offseason. Free agency, does he want to become a free agent this year, next year? What's he going to do with his situation? I think, again, he's going to go for the 1-year option and come back and sign a bigger contract after that because the salary cap increase. But he is the best player on the planet, bar none.
Absolutely.
And one of the reasons why, you know, people say, well, he's not exciting. I don't know about you. It's exciting to win a championship. He's just not a flashy player, which is what a lot of people are attracted to, like a Kobe or a Shaq.
Well, even Shaq gave him the great compliment, called him the big fundamental.
And that's his nickname. You're right.
That's what he is. He's fundamentally sound all the way around his entire game. Now, he might want to practice free throws a little bit.
But you know what? He didn't do half bad down the stretch, did he? And you know what it is? You watching when he shoots the free throw is when he thinks about it. That's when he gets in trouble. When he just puts the ball on the floor, puts it up, and just makes a switch, he's not thinking about it. He's just going through the mechanics and doing it.
I'm not a coach, Greg, but I would also say bend your knees. Bend your knees. 1, 2, 3. It's not that hard. Although I say that, and you do it under pressure in front of all those fans, and especially when there's a lot riding on the line, you stand up there, and suddenly those knees turn to jello, and it's hard not to think about it.
And because you start thinking about it, you have the time to think about it, you have the time to walk up there, but as the Tower of the Americas overlooks the San Antonio Riverwalk here, the landmark of the city of San Antonio, now the landmark of the NBA world champion San Antonio Spurs, you have to say to yourself, you know, of all things that went wrong off and on during the season, it just all came together and clicked when it had to. And what a great example of the fan support here. Where else could you pack 400,000 people in a downtown to cheer on a team and have everybody leave orderly?
And we just heard that in the Dome, they're opening up the curtain.
Oh, my God. You're kidding already?
So many fans down there, they had to open up the curtain, so they're going to fill up both sides, or maybe They're working on the second side.
You think about that. They were expecting 50,000 fans, and now they're dropping that curtain. That means they're going to have more than 50,000. There are only 65,000 actual seats there, but you know you can get a lot more folks on the floor, so you could have up to almost 100,000 folks packed into that Alamo Dome to help share this moment.
So we have that to look forward to. The River Parade apparently has come to a close here downtown. If you missed it, Greg and Steve did dance, and it was quite a sight. Like I said, if we were good at it, we'd be bragging, but we're not, so it's funny.
It has been a joy, Steve Brown. Once again, we did it back in 1999. We do it again in 2003. You know what? I got a feeling you and I are going to be back here in a very short period of time celebrating one more time with the San Antonio Spurs.
It's the beginning of a dynasty. Let's face it. It is.
And you know what's interesting about this as we talk about dynasties, you know, of all the people that are going to come back on this particular event, I just believe that they're going to have the chemistry necessary to do it again because these guys seem to work it out. Steve, as always, thanks for the great job on the River Parade. We have more to come with the Alamo Dome celebration right after this.